Greetings, everyone. This is Pamela Lorenzi, host of the Little Art Podcast. Today, I have another back. I think it's episode number 8 or 9, with one of my best friends from the podcast that I've been blessed to connect and showcase over the years. The one and only and wonderful Catherine Cooper and Jaden. Where's Jaden?
Yeah.
Anyways,
Yeah.
she's back, and today we're gonna talk about something that she's passionate about, and she's going to talk about how singing made a huge impact in her life. So this woman is phenomenal. She has a lot of talents. She's a wealth of knowledge. She's a walking library of stories, of wisdom, of gifts. This is why she's by far the record holder of appearances on my podcast so far. Episode number 8, I believe, or 7, something along those lines. We're fast approaching 10. So yeah, I'm very happy to have her back. We just had about 45 minutes of wonderful conversation just before going live. And now here she is again. So Catherine, my dear friend, welcome back.
Thank you, Peyton. Such a pleasure to be with you. I so enjoyed talking with you. And one day we'll have the opportunity to meet in person. That'll
Amen.
be
I'm
great.
looking forward to that. Absolutely. And I can't wait to
Yes.
meet Jaden.
Yep. Jaden's my little buddy.
Absolutely. And I get to know him. He's becoming also my buddy too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so tell us,
Gonna call
Catherine.
you. We're gonna call you Uncle Payman.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Tell us, how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty well, thank you. We're having some what I call nice weather. That means in the 70s, and the
Mm.
sun is shining, and there's a light breeze. It was just marvelous. Last week, they were ready to kill us with 100. It
Oh yeah.
was 100 degrees, and the heat index was 114.
Oh yeah.
So we suffered through that, but luckily it only lasted a couple of days. So we're back on the mend and living life to its fullest. I'm starting to harvest the garden, and
Oh,
I'm going to
how's
start
that going?
preserving. Oh, I'll tell you now the tomatoes are starting to come. It's getting kind of
Ooh.
scary. It's getting kind of scary, Payment, because I'm going to be overwhelmed with tomatoes pretty soon.
You guys
But
don't you guys don't have, for example, when we were, planting those in our backyard the previous summer, we had an issue with squirrels and rabbits coming in and destroying everything. Do you guys have that issue there?
I have, I love animals. I just love them. But we have chipmunks,
Ah, yeah.
and they're so gosh darn cute. And yet the other week, about 2 weeks ago, um, I opened up the back door and I'm looking on the stoop, and there's a little chipmunk
Oh,
chewing on my strawberry.
oh wow.
And I said, "You're the little varmint that's stealing all my strawberries. You know what? I hope you get a bellyache."
Oh no.
And he looked at me and he ran away. Well, today he was up on my stoop again. He was going after the piece of tomato that he hadn't quite finished.
Oh no.
Yeah. So years ago, I would take them, put them in a have a heart trap, and take them someplace away from me. And I know that's a hard thing on them because they form packs, and not every pack is friendly to outsiders.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, they were absolutely destroying my yard and my
Oh,
vegetables, and so they had to go.
absolutely, absolutely. So we're talking just before going live about having an outlet where we have the happy news of the day. So if there were one piece of happy news that you could share with us today, what would that be? Anything.
Anything. Well, I finished a piece that I'm working on for my little furniture business. My
Mm,
little business is called The Fox's Socks,
love the name.
and yeah, it's a little red fox, kind of to match my red hair. And so I was able to finish some pieces that I'm going to hopefully sell soon. I made a bed tray. I shouldn't say I made it. I remade it.
Mm,
And I remade a silver tray that was badly scratched, and now it looks like chunks of wood. Just intriguing things. So it was a good day for me. And then I decided on a pattern for another tray that I'm going to work on.
Mm,
That tray was badly scratched and damaged. So I like to upcycle things. I don't like to throw things away. Let's find another use for it. Let's
mm,
make it better. And
yeah.
so I love doing that, and I love that feeling that I get of making something useful once again.
Would you say that this is one thing that makes your heart sing?
Absolutely.
Mm,
Being creative makes my heart sing. And just seeing it develop. And sometimes, you don't get the answer right away. What should I do with this piece? And you
mhm.
hem and haw. And I always go back to my mighty presence, and I say, now I want to make this thing beautiful. So I need your inspiration. I need you to guide me and tell me what to do with this piece. And it won't be long, like tonight or this afternoon. I got an idea for one, and I think it's going to turn out just marvelous. And so it's a great it's just a wonderful feeling of expression that I never had in the workaday world. I was always making things work for other people and making them a success, and I was always the power behind the curtain, so to speak. um,
Oh,
and you don't get to express yourself in that. It's all about the other person. So
mhm.
now I get to do me
Yes.
and what makes me happy. Somebody just offered me a job that, well, it wasn't going to be a very peaceful job,
Oh, wow.
and it wasn't going to be. It would be fulfilling in the sense that I could be a success at it. I knew that I could, but my days of being on the hot seat, those days are over. I've
Oh, yeah.
had it with that. I've been there, done that.
Oh, yeah.
And now I don't want to be on the hot seat anymore. And so they were very disappointed. Oh, won't you please reconsider? And I said, no, I promised myself these years of peace and what
Yeah,
makes me happy and what makes me smile and what makes me be a positive light in the world.
exactly.
So that's that's my gig these days.
Yeah. One thing that we all suffer from to some extent is we always do things for others. We put
Mhm.
other people's happiness before ours,
Right.
and that builds up a lot of resentment. It builds up until you can no longer take it, and then that's when we do something crazy and bad. So for you, Catherine, when did you realize that enough of putting other people's happiness or needs before yours? When was that a specific event, or was it something crescendo and progressive that over time you said, you know what, enough of this. I need to think of myself first.
Well, I can tell you when it started, and it started when I was about 13,
Mm,
12, 13 years old, and a young gal, my classmate, her name was Janine, and she was just a sweet person. Um, she didn't necessarily have a real happy home life, but it wasn't bad. And her house was nicer than ours because we were very poor. My mother kept a good house. Everything was spotlessly clean, and she did the very best that she could. So I thought, well, Janine isn't going to like my house because it's just not very special. But Janine surprised me one day, and we were walking her home, and she said, I really like coming to your house. And I said, really? And she said, yeah, because at your house, I always feel like it's peaceful and like I'm really welcome. And so she said, and I know I can talk to you about anything, and you'll never tell my mom or anybody else. And so she said, I really like that. So that made me realize that there's something there, perhaps within me, that made others a little harmonious at times. And as I walked through more of my life, more and more people would come to me with their problems. And then I got into jobs where, um, well, I was always on the hot seat,
mm,
and things could get very complicated very quickly. There was high diplomacy. There was working with all sorts of law enforcement and um, even Scotland Yard and Interpol and all of those to greet dignitaries, and it gets a little heavy. It's interesting, but it gets heavy. So I've met so many famous people through the years, and yet it was always, Catherine, do this, Catherine, make this happen, Catherine. I remember one day I was sitting at my desk on the first floor, and we were going to have a very large party on the second floor with a dignitary. And I had already worked through everything with the Secret Service and the Sheriff's Department and the dogs and the whole thing. Had already done that, and I'm finally at my desk trying to get my work, my normal work done. And all of a sudden, I hear this noise on the second floor, and it's my boss. And then my phone rang, and it was one of the head waitresses, and she said, "You better come up here. The boss is screaming for you." And so I got away and I went up the stairs, and I could hear him. "Where's Catherine? Where's Catherine? Catherine has to fix this. Catherine has to." Oh, I thought, oh my God. And it was so abnormal for him to be that way vocally. You never really ever heard that from him. But the achievement was always demanded. Catherine, fix this. Catherine, make this right, and make sure you don't fail. So I started. At that point, it started to wear me down, and I realized that I was giving too much. Too much was expected of me. And while I made everything turn out, I really did. It worked like a Swiss watch. But the toll on my health was too great. And by the time I was 27, I nearly died.
Wow.
And the surgeon came after I had to have some really major surgery. And he said, "You were just about 10, 12 hours away from leaving us entirely." And he said, "This is all caused by stress. You were a mess inside." And so he said, "You've got to take life a little easier." So I had that admonition, and I got out of it after a while. As I have indicated before, I was fired because I wouldn't sleep with the boss. And
Oh, wow, yeah.
so I got into things that were less demanding, but still demanding. And then my last job was with government, and that was just a total fracas. I was in it for 12 years, and that too affected my health in a very, very harsh way. So at that point, I said, when this job is over, I'm never going to do anything again. I'm not going to, that has anything to do with hiring people, firing people, supervising people, making sure their payroll is correct or anything. I don't want any more serious responsibilities. I just want to be whoever I am inside. And so I did that, and that's about 8.5 years ago already.
Wow. Beautiful. And so you almost had to literally die for you to say enough is enough. And then now that once you've, sometimes when we want to do something, it always sounds harder to do until we actually do it and say, well, was that all there is? Was that it? Because we tend to make like mountains out of, nothing. So once you made that switch and you put that, you literally freed yourself from all the stress that was killing you, literally. How did you feel right after that? And was it easy to readjust to that newfound peace and serenity?
Well, yeah, it was to a degree. I think it took me after that government job, it took me about 18 months really to just heal. I had what the doctor called post traumatic stress syndrome, because even after I retired, I would have nightmares about, oh my God, Am I on time for this meeting? Oh my God, what am I supposed to say? Oh my God, do I have all my papers? Oh, did he get this? Oh, did he get that? Oh, where am I supposed to? Oh my God, I forgot. Where is the meeting? I would have horrible dreams like that.
Mm.
And so it took a while for that to go away. And then I decided, after just gardening and just not doing anything particularly stressful, I realized that I wanted still to help people. I'd been in helping people all my life, so now I felt rather useless.
Mm.
And so I asked my presence, what is it that you would like me to do? Where can I go? What can I do? How can I be of service in a manner that is acceptable to me?
Mm.
And the answer came um, by watching a video of Tony Robbins.
Wow.
And I thought, you know what? I can do that. I can talk to people. And so I decided that I would start my own business. I went through the Jack Canfield Train the Trainer
Mm-hmm.
course, became a certified motivational speaker and transformational coach. And so I still help, but I do it on my terms and what I feel I can handle. And I'm
Absolutely.
also now doing the furniture business, which is totally creative. And
Mhm.
if I don't feel like doing it, I don't do it. And when I want to
Exactly.
do it, I do it.
So that's a good segue now. Um, you wanted to talk about how singing made a huge impact in your life. Tell us about that.
Well, as I've said in many of my other podcasts with you, Payman, I did not have a happy life.
Yes.
Um, I was very impoverished, and most most people probably that are listening to us don't understand the real meaning of poverty, and
Mm.
they don't know how hard it is to go through it. It was particularly difficult because um, I wasn't an only child, but I had a half brother who was about 12, 13 years older than me, so he was gone.
Mhm.
And I had a very determined mother. She and I did not see eye to eye. And she was the kind of woman who said, I'll beat you up alongside the head if you don't listen to me. And she meant it. So, and I'd received several beatings, bad ones in
Wow.
my life with her. So, there was again the squeezing of little Catherine, who was supposed to be somebody, something, but she didn't know what. And it seemed like to her mother, no matter what she wanted, her mother said, that's not good enough, or you'll never be able to make it. Um, so everything was always a downer with my mom.
Mm.
And I liked to sing, even in grade school. And sometimes I would sing at our little grade, we'd have a little grade school program. And I would get to sing a solo. I remember one year I sang Somewhere Over the Rainbow. And so singing seemed to be a really important part of my life. And I realized when I got a little bit older, near my teens, that I would feel better when I sang. And I would just sing the songs that I heard on the radio and on television with some of the performers. And it was a wonderful way for me to express myself in a modality
Mm.
that didn't aggravate my mother. And so I didn't have to worry about her disagreeing. I didn't have to worry about her chastising me, punishing me for speaking back to her. I couldn't speak my mind. I had to just shut up and go along. Um, so singing, I could get away with that. I could be anybody I wanted to be when I sang. I could be a bank robber. I could be a fairy princess. I could be anybody, anything. And so I had a music teacher in junior high school who said, you know, once you get rid of those tonsils and you start speaking in a normal voice, um, we're going to start working with you because you've got some talent.
Mm.
And I went, gee, wow, me? And so I did get my tonsils removed, and I did start. And at the ripe old age of 13, I was the youngest person to ever be allowed into what they called at high school the senior choir.
Wow.
And so that was pretty pleasing to me. That was the first indication from anybody that I was worth anything. Nobody had ever been positive with me or given me any kind of uh, support or upliftment, you know.
Hmm.
So I could get it through singing. And so I did sing. The teacher made me sort of her special student. And so I sang at many events in the town. And I really loved it. But it was very hard work. And I started to get into opera. And then when I was about a little over 16, she said, you know, it's come to my attention that you have a talent that could perhaps win you the beauty pageant, the local beauty pageant.
Mm.
And I thought, wow. And she said that might be a good way for you to get money to go to college. So let's work on that. Are you willing? And I said, yeah, you know, anything to get out of the poverty that I was in.
Sure.
And so we started working on that. And I listened to a beautiful opera star, Eileen Farrell. She's deceased now, but boy, she had a gorgeous voice. And I did one of the songs, two of the songs that were on an album. We had albums in those days, and so I did that for the talent part of the beauty pageant. So that helped me. Um, but being in the beauty pageant was probably the worst thing I could have ever done to myself.
Mm.
And the hatred that I received was something that I was not prepared for at all. I didn't ever know that people could be that vicious. Um, the phone calls in the middle of the night, people throwing eggs and tomatoes at the house, and
Wow.
my runner up, because I won the beauty pageant, the runner up was very, very, very jealous and made life extremely miserable for me. So I came away very defeated, but I sang, and the saving grace for this, and I'm going to have to tell everybody now something I don't normally share. Um, I got to the beauty pageant, and I got to the state pageant, and that was to try for Miss America.
Mm.
And so I get there, and we've worked so hard. We've worked so many hours of the day. I'm totally exhausted. And you have to remember, I was still in high school at the time, and I was
Wow.
trying to get ready to go to college. And so I had college courses that I was already taking in 12th grade, which were difficult and required a tremendous amount of reading. And here I'm trying to get ready for this pageant, which requires hours and hours and hours, and didn't have the right clothing. And there was a small clothing allotment that you got when you won the city pageant, and it really didn't cover really what I needed. So I borrowed an evening gown from the woman who had won the year before me, and because I couldn't possibly afford one. And so you go through all of this turmoil and upheaval in your life, trying to get all of this done, trying to get it all ready. You're only 18 years old. You don't have any idea about what the world is about and about other people. So I get to the state pageant, and of course, I'm working my tail off. And the night of the pageant, there were, I think, 1,500 people in the audience.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a beautiful little orchestra um, to play, and never had a chance to rehearse with the orchestra. And when you're singing at the level I was singing, you need rehearsals. So I get there that night and get to my part of the talent presentation. And now, Payman, I can't hear the orchestra. I cannot hear anything in the music pit.
Mm.
And I don't know what to do. And all I could do is tell myself to pull together and just start singing, because the orchestra has to follow you. You're not following them. You're the star here. You have to be accompanied. So I did. I just started. And I sang the whole aria, Vici d'Arte by Puccini. And I got done, and there wasn't a sound. Oh, Payman, I just about died. There's not a sound. Where is everybody? Did I? Oh my God, I did so awful. I did so terrible. Nobody knows how to react. And all of a sudden, Payman, the audience erupted into just this bombastic cheering,
Wow.
yelling, bravo, 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 more. And people were whistling and applauding and yelling. And of course, you can't do anything. You can't do an encore. I mean, you're there for 2 minutes and 34 seconds, I think. And that's, you got to get off the stage, and you're on television too. So I
Wow.
realized that I was a success. So I get backstage, and the state chaperone who was helping take care of me backstage said, the girls want you disqualified from the pageant.
What?
And I went, what? And she said, they're making a complaint that you are a professional, and professionals are not allowed in the pageant.
You're high school
And I
student.
said,
How can you be professional?
I filled out all that paperwork saying I am not a professional. I have never been paid for singing, ever.
Wow.
She said, they want you disqualified because you're too professional.
They're jealous. You have a talent.
Yeah, exactly. So I not only get that, so now I'm changing gowns. You go
Wow.
behind the scenes in a beauty pageant, and it's just chaos. It's just chaos. And so my state person is helping me, and she's helping me get into my gown. And she said, I just heard that you scored a 10 on your talent. And I said, oh my God, thank God, because the top 10 were going to be chosen to go forward in the pageant. And she said, and I said, so am I going to make the top 10? And she said, no, my dear, they're not going to let you. And I said, what do you mean they're not going to let me? A 10. You can't get any higher than a 10. She said, I know, dear, but they're not going to let you go forward because you don't fulfill the American Idol. You're poor, you don't have a father, and you don't fulfill the American dream.
Wow. But wasn't there any talent scout in the audience to just take you and give you a
No,
chance or anything?
no, no, unfortunately not. So at that point, I had been through so much with
Oh,
all of this. I'd
heartbreaking.
been through, it was absolutely devastating,
Sure.
devastating. All those hours of rehearsal. In high school, I was singing 5 to 6 hours a day, every
Wow.
single day. And I was supposed to do so on Saturday. And sometimes I'd just say, oh, the heck with it. I can't anymore. Just give me a break. But that's how many hours a day I would put in. And 5 to 6 hours a day, that's a lot at the end
Mm,
of the week.
sure.
And I mean, I went and learned the words for this aria from a woman who came from that part of Italy where this dialect of Italian was spoken.
So we're singing in Italian opera.
Yes.
Wow.
So I was absolutely devastated, and people had made things so hard for me. They were so vicious and unkind that I was totally wiped out. And when I heard that, the next day, of course, the pageant ended that night. The winner was chosen, and also to find out. And this wasn't the first time, so I'm not singling this woman out saying that she was unique. But we also, many of us in the pageant, found out that the pageants were bought.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
We didn't know that. We were too young and naive. We had no idea that the pageants were bought.
And if I
So
dare
all
say,
of the hard work and all of the sacrifice and all of those people who put so much time and effort and energy into helping me get there was wiped out with "you don't fulfill the American dream" or the image.
it's the most insane things ever. Wow.
So I took the day after the pageant, we had a luncheon, and I was so exhausted. I was so heartbroken that they said, "Oh, everyone that had a talent presentation that needed the orchestra, you can pick up your music," because you had to supply the sheet music for them. "You can pick it up." And my sponsor, who came along, who was taking care of me from the city side, she said, "Oh, go get your music, Catherine." And I did. She went with me, and I took the sheet music and I tore it up. She said, "Why did you do that?" And I said, "Because the whole thing was bought. I never had a snowball's chance in hell."
Yeah.
And
Wow.
so I gave up, just gave up. I was absolutely devastated. And then when I got home, um, the the voice coach, the music teacher that I had, said, your behavior at the pageant was absolutely the thing that lost the pageant for you. She was believing vicious gossip that somebody had started about me, wouldn't even give me a chance to say anything at all. But she said, somebody in your financial straits really should be grateful for anything you get. How dare you take all that money, take all of that talent that people gave to you out of their heart so that you could succeed, and you threw it away. And I said, "I didn't." "Yes, you did." And she wouldn't talk to me, would not talk to me. And so that it just broke me. It was the worst thing I could have ever done.
Yeah. Wow. How old were you back then?
18.
Were you still living with your mother or you were living on your
Oh,
own?
sure. No, no, no. You have to live with mother. In those days, you had to live with your parents until you were 21.
So how was your mother supportive or not?
Um, my mom, I think, was also so browbeaten in her life that um, she felt pity.
Yeah,
See, this is the lot in life you get when you're poor, she said. People will never give you a chance when you're poor. If they know you're poor, they'll beat you down. They won't let you get anywhere because they want everybody else who has money to be above you.
that is so sad. Yeah. Wow. So how did you, Catherine, overcome this tremendous setback?
I don't think I ever did. I don't
Mm,
think I ever got over it. Um, and by the time I was, what, 25, 26, and then having that job and then being threatened, having my life threatened, having that man say to me, nobody tells me no. And sometime, somewhere, somehow, I will have my revenge. Well, that's a hell of a thing to have to try to live with.
Sure.
So I was already heartbroken. I was already downtrodden, and then that jerk came along.
Did you try at any time to try to give it another go at the singing and all that, but maybe to a
I
different
did. I went to
way?
I did. I went to the Conservatory of Music, which was just down the street from me, and that was a huge disappointment because the vocal coach that I was paying for was just maybe a few years older than me. And she, for some reason, seemed to think that she had a wonderful voice. Um, who could tell her the opposite.
Yeah.
And so anything that we would try to practice on, she would take over. She would cut me out and she would take over singing it. So I did that for a couple of months and I said, I'm not here to pay someone to sing over me. I'm here to pay someone to help me go further.
Was it another
And
place?
that
Get another coach, maybe?
I asked for one and they said there wasn't one currently available.
Wow.
So by the time I was 27, the stress of it all, I think, had just built up. And that's when I just nearly died.
Mm. Wow.
So music is still very important to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I sang, in the church choir, um, or at little gatherings when we'd all get together and, I don't know, sing Christmas carols or whatever. Um, People did tell me that I had a very healing voice. And I remember once in a little country church that I wrote about in the book, I was asked to sing a song for Father's Day.
Mm.
And I thought, oh, great. There aren't many songs available for Father's Day. So I took a song which at the time was thought to be very tacky. It was by Wayne Newton, and it was "Oh My Papa," and it came
Mm.
from I think Germany. And I sang that, but I sang it in such a way that I sang it from my heart because I never knew my dad,
Mm.
and I wanted to use this song to be able to speak to him. And so when I was done and the church service was over and people came up to me with tears in their eyes and said, everything that you sang about happened to me, or I felt that because I loved my father so much and he left me so early, and whatever their story was about their father, it had really touched them. And I was so grateful. So, not long after that, we had a Christmas program a couple of years later, and there was a little girl who was about 12 years old, and all she ever wanted to do in life was to be a singer. And her mother said, and her father said, we can't stop this child from singing. All she does is sing. And I thought, well, isn't that wonderful? So it's Christmas time, and we found out, probably early fall, that she had a brain tumor.
Oh
And
no.
yeah, and she wasn't expected to live maybe to spring.
Wow.
But she wanted to sing a solo at the Christmas service.
Mm.
And the minister said, of course, absolutely, what would you like to sing? And she chose "O Silent Night."
Mm.
So here we all are. We're having an evening service. It was lovely, beautiful candles and just a beautiful atmosphere. And she got up on the rostrum
Yeah.
And she started to sing the song. And she got about a quarter of the way through it.
Mm.
And her voice started to shake and she broke down crying.
Wow.
And then I realized, we have to help this little girl. And I started to sing. I started to sing where she left off on "O Silent Night." I
Mm.
picked it up and I motioned and I touched the people around me. Come on, sing with me, let's finish this song for her.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got a couple of people going and then a couple more, and it caught on and we finished the song for her.
Wow.
And about a month later she died.
Oh no. Wow.
Yeah.
First.
So, all sorts of strange things can happen in life, but the mother thanked us. She said, I don't know who that was that started out to sing and I can't remember the little girl's name, but she said when my daughter couldn't sing it anymore, but she said, thank you, thank you, thank you. It was the kindest
Mm.
thing you could have done.
Yeah.
So, there again, you have the opportunity to be of service if you can just step away from yourself and realize that here's a young girl who you know, doesn't have any life left. And
Mm.
what can we do to help her?
Yeah. Wow. Sometimes life can be very unfair, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
Wow. So now looking back in retrospect at that incident of you having your dreams of, singing and all that being taken away from you. We both know that life is a school. We come here to learn and there's a gift, a beautiful blessing in every experience, even the most heartbreaking. So for you now looking back with the eyes of experience and wisdom and all that,
Hmm.
what would you say was the lesson to learn from you from this for you, and what was that trying to teach you?
Well, I don't know that it was so much a lesson, Heyman,
Mm.
as it was a gift.
That's it. So I meant the gift, yes.
It was a gift that I didn't get to go on because look at, and maybe this is something that the audience won't understand if they're not schooled in human trafficking.
Oh yes, 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 yes. That
And
could.
that can happen in the entertainment business. Look
Mm-hmm.
at how it almost happened to me in the modeling business.
Yes,
That was a gift. That was a
absolutely.
gift that man went up there and decked the manager of this modeling agency, because he said they're going to make you into a prostitute. That's what they're aiming for. And so just think of how horrible it would have been had I been able to get somewhere in the music field, and being as naive as I was, and who knows, maybe I still am, but I don't think so. um, but you don't know the horrible things that could have happened to me. And
Yeah,
just because I counted on it in the human doesn't mean that it was spiritually the right thing for me to do or the right place to be.
yeah,
So um, I look at it now and I truly understand and accept that that was a gift.
totally. Wow. You know, I've witnessed and experienced that so many times. When something you want doesn't materialize, it's not to punish you, but to protect
Right?
you, to say,
Yes.
because, you know, God, universe, whatever you want to call it, doesn't punish us, and it
No.
never gives you anything that you're not able to overcome.
Right.
Because ultimately
Right.
we chose all those major life, chapters or incidents in our lives, and we would not be
Hmm.
doing something that we can't, we can't overcome. Sure,
Right.
the soul wants to learn, but the soul is not a masochist. It doesn't want to on purpose hurt itself way beyond what is required for you to learn the gift that is as a result of this experience.
Right.
So, wow, what a story. Thank you for sharing it, Catherine. Once again, amazing talking to you. I love your wisdoms. You should put all of these, combine them into a memoir or a book. Seriously. You have all our videos, you have 7, 8, transcribe them, take the gold in each one, write a beautiful book. That would be your legacy, because you have so much. Again, it's what I understood, and this is what I keep saying all the time. We are here not only for us to go over lessons, over challenges, and become better ourselves. That's only 5%. The 95% is taking those gifts, sharing them with others through whatever means is more natural for you. For me, for example, to speaking and writing. For someone like you, probably might be, I don't know, singing, someone else dancing, someone else maybe painting, sports, moving, acting, whatever. Find your outlet, find your the way that you're the most natural for you to express your gift, to share your gifts, and go.
Well, one thing I didn't tell in the end of the story
Mm,
was that many years after I had long lived now my life,
yeah.
and I had gotten a call from someone back home who
Mhm.
was arranging the class reunion.
Mm,
And up until then, I think it was every 5 years they were having a reunion. And there was no way in hell I was going to go back, because that city just damn near killed me.
yeah.
Um, but I found out from someone who was actually able to track down my phone number
Oh, wow.
and talk to me. And it was a former classmate, of course. And she said to me, you might know that your first runner up has
Wow.
gone through her own trials. And I said, well, what do you mean? I
Mm,
said, she was just a nasty, excuse me, but she was a nasty bitch to me. She was awful.
wow.
And she said, well, she got married. Her husband beat her up. She had children,
Mm,
and he left her, and she became destitute. She had no money, and she had to live on welfare.
wow.
And this was the one who said, you shouldn't be in there. It should be me. And I'm the one who's supposed to have won, and all of this. But look at how life came back and slapped her. And
Yeah,
I didn't take any joy in that.
sure.
I just thought, wow, you see, you don't know what's around the corner. So you got
Absolutely.
to be careful what you put out, because you're going
Yeah,
to get it back.
totally. Wow. This is crazy indeed.
hmm
That is wow. Oof.
But I didn't go to the class reunion.
I can't blame you. Nobody can. Yeah, because why would you?
Yeah,
It
yeah.
would bring all these negative. Yeah, wow.
There were a couple nice people, but
Sure.
there were, yeah, it was just a very bad, bad, bad experience.
Mm-hmm.
So here I am to tell the story.
And what a story. Thank you for sharing it once again with us. I'm honored that for you to come to share not only your story, but open your heart and share with us your gifts. You've been blessed with phenomenal gifts. Thank you, Catherine, for sharing them with us. It's
Thank
always an
you.
honor.
Thank you for listening, and thank you for putting me on.
Pleasure is all mine, Catherine. You know, my doors are always open for you. My podcast, anytime you want to talk, because not only you're very fun to talk to, you're amazing, you're wonderful, but also you've been blessed with incredible gifts. Sure, it wasn't easy for you to go to that because, of course, from what you shared, it's been a very challenging life, and that's put it very mildly. But, on the other side is all these beautiful
Mhm.
wisdoms, gifts to share with others. Now you're at that stage, and I mean, there's no stage for that. You can share that at any stage, any part of your life. But now for you, it's all about, bringing joy, happiness, wisdom, Remember what I said at the beginning? Start a channel with you and Jaden, the happy hour of the news of the day, to bring some positivity, because when you turn on the news, it's all about fear, 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 war, 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 this. It's all about to bring your frequency down, your vibration down, and put you in a state of fear. But you can come in and share, hey, here's the happy news of the day.
Yeah. Yeah, I was talking to someone the other day, a young man that comes to help me in the yard and stuff. And so I was telling him a few things that, of the negative that's going on. And he said, geez, it just makes me afraid to. And I grabbed his hand and I said, you don't be afraid of anything. And if you are afraid, you call me, because I'm not afraid. And he
Exactly.
just looked at me and I said, I've been through too much in my life to be afraid of anything. And so, you call me and you talk to me, and we'll get us all through it.
Absolutely. Wow. This is a gift. Hey, to help to reassure people. Tell them, hey, listen, you'll be okay.
Yeah. Yep. Everything's going to be just great.
Yeah, exactly. Listen, Catherine, as always, absolute pleasure, honor talking to you and listening to your wonderful tales and gifts and all that. I salute you. You're truly the heart. I'm already looking forward to our next conversation next week, because we have one scheduled for, let me check again, Monday or Tuesday next week. My Tuesday morning, which is your Monday evening.
Monday evening. Yeah,
Yes.
you're into Tuesday right now, aren't you?
Yes, it's 10 a.m. here. Yes, it's a beautiful sunny day.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go out now for some exploration, sightseeing here. So
Good.
yeah, I listen, I'm only looking forward to it. I wish you a fantabulous weekend. Sorry, not weekend, rest evening and rest of the week. And talk to you very soon next week, same
Next
time,
week.
same
Yes.
place. Hi, my
Yep.
friend.
Same
Thank
time,
you.
same station. Thank you so
Absolutely.
much.
Say hi to
Take
Jay.
care.
And remember, don't forget what I said. The happy news of the day.
Okay.
Seriously.
All right.
Take
All
care.
right, Payman.
Bye bye.
Good
Ciao.
night. Bye bye.